Yup. Okay, so I'm back. I wanted to make another video on Dizzy. So we got the emergency balance patch, and I guess it was known, like I said earlier, that they were gonna buff some of the weaker characters. Surprisingly enough, Zato or Asuka were not, those characters selected, but Testament was one of those characters. Obviously, Dizzy is one of those characters, which is why they're here. Obviously, Leo was one of those characters. Yeah, I know. One of the things with Dizzy that got changed was her fireball, the chestnut fireball. And I kind of wanted to talk about it because, while it was strong, there were ways to get around it, and we're at the point now where she's actually nerfed. I'll explain why, and again, this opinion could be different. There's people out there that think, oh, she got buffed, she got better. But I think after playing her a bit more and kind of seeing the other opinions around the community, I'm pretty sure the majority of people agree with the opinion that she actually got worse. But I mean, let me explain. Another aspect of her was buffed. So it's obvious that Dizzy her win con is this move right here, right? The Wings of Light. Sadly enough, this move it's okay. On paper, Wings of Light is a really, really, really broken move. Very broken move. But in this game, in the context of Strive and how it's like set up, it's not the greatest with how you're supposed to unlock it, right? Obviously, it's just a little more than 10 seconds. Not even 11 seconds, just a little more than 10. You have to stall, right? Throw, whatever, right? Kind of stall to get the Wings of Light on, right? Timer goes, it's still going, right? You hear the noise, and then you see it spread. Alright, we all get it. We saw the launch trailer, the starter guide, we get the memes with the move, right? Why it's not the greatest, and I'll get into it another time, but basically, it just takes too long to work with how bad her offense is, right? And the fact that, okay, well, not bad, I get weak her offense is. It's not like horrible, it's just not the greatest in this game. But point is, with how how her offense works, it's not good enough to actually stall. It's not like Zato where you're doing like really, really, really hard to block stuff, right? It's more simple stuff. It's not great, and a lot of times it actually just is strike throw situations that it's just like you get a knockdown, right? You go into this, right? It's not like the mix-ups are pretty reactable, big gaps in between them, whatnot, right? So it's hard to actually keep the opponent locked down and not put yourself at risk. And so with Wings of Light, taking 10 seconds, you would need something to keep the opponent locked down. And that's where this move came in. So let's talk about why Dizzy is worse. So this move, the rising part of the move became a actual physical strike. So in this game, if you didn't know, projectiles have no pushback on block. So what this means is if you were to get Pot, for example, and do Garuda, right? You would do it over and over again, and the character wouldn't move back at all when the opponent blocks, right? As you can see, when I'm doing this move, Dizzy's moving farther and farther, to the point where she gets pushed out, like the first hit will start whiffing, right? So there is pushback on this. And if I were to set FD, so put on Flawless Defense, right? You can see how much different this is than before. Before there was no pushback because both the rising and the ending part, right? Obviously rising hitbox, right? And then still in block stun, and then the projectile is its own hit. So essentially 2 hits, right? This obviously like I said, the rising part is now strike. So what this means and how it's different from before. Okay, again, before, even though there was no pushback, there were like options to get around it, right? Obviously, like there was stuff like this, right? Oops, sorry. You'd see stuff like this, right? You'd see them do this and this sometimes, right? You would see this. It was essentially, it wasn't gapless or anything. There was gaps, there was, RPS options, right? You could, if the opponent knew what they were doing, they can kind of force her to do button before she does this, and obviously normals are strike, so there's pushback. So, right, this wasn't just loopable forever, right? There was options the opponent had, right? And there was also like system mechanics such as YRC and whatnot, right? But that scarier pressure situation, which kept the opponent locked down for longer, was her offense, right? Because again, like I was saying, this situation with this situation with the fish was just, it wasn't great. So when running straight up, her offense straight up, it was already pretty bad. And what I mean by straight up offense is her offense without a knockdown. So without a knockdown, obviously her block strings, she can't go into this. Oh, sorry. She can't go into this unless it's close, right? She can't go into this as it's way too minus. It's like minus what, 13 or something. So you weren't ending your strings with this. You weren't doing the Michael Sword. I mean, like, you are doing the Michael Sword. They can IB this, right? But the point is, like, this isn't a good block string, right? Like, you're not threatening anything, essentially, right? And I'll get into why this isn't, the reason why this isn't great either is because, actually, let me come back to that. But yeah, no, sorry, you're not threatening anything, right? You're not doing the fish, you're not doing the spike. So a lot of times you were just kind of doing this and then ending your turn. But when you were closer, you could kind of do stuff with this. And so this was essentially the best thing she had, right? Even if you thought you played Dizzy and you thought this move wasn't great in pressure, right? The thing is, it was the best thing she had. It was what she had going for her to stall long enough to get this going when she made you block straight up, right? One of the issues with Dizzy, which I wanted to talk about, is she's a zoner. So they made her more of a zoner, right? So they nerfed her offense, and then they move the strength of the projectile being like an offensive tool. They made it more of a neutral tool. The closest thing she is to an archetype is definitely a zoner, but even then she still doesn't fit the category of zoner because she's so bad at zoning so many different characters in this game that she loses neutral so hard to so many different characters that it's like, it's pointless. So them buffing this to now beat other projectiles and hard knockdown, that's what they did in the patch. They made this hard knockdowns on hit, and it beats other projectiles, right? Cool, it's fine, but again, the tracking on it is sometimes a little finicky. It's, it still has, a lot of characters still punish you for even doing it, right? And it's just like, it doesn't matter, because she was already she already wasn't good at zoning. So this doesn't really help too much, because this move was already skeptical to use, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's her zoning and neutral got like slightly better, but her offense fell out tremendously. This affects her a lot. But yeah, no, her offense fell out a lot. Let's see. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to expect. I don't know what they're gonna do with Dizzy. Hopefully it's obvious they want to make her a neutral monster, but she has, like, it feels like she's missing something a bit. She has the tools kind of, but she just doesn't really fit in any category, and her offense is now very weak. She's definitely, she's just objectively not a good offensive character. Even with the fish and whatnot set up, she's still just not a good offensive character. It's just, I don't know. But yeah, maybe it seems they want to steer away from the direction of, like I said, making her a good offensive character. We'll have to see. I know a bunch of people originally thought this character was buffed with the patch, but she's definitely worse. Yeah, I don't know. Just 10 seconds, it's like, how do you get this to go for 10 seconds? Like, it doesn't, like, I think what the devs intended was they probably already thought her neutral was really strong, and they just wanted to, I guess, make it even better. And so their goal was, hopefully people will start using the projectile in neutral, right? Oops, sorry. Start using the projectile in neutral, get the hard knockdown, and this will essentially be your stall. But even then, like, you could still get hit by these, right? Doesn't matter too much, right? And then, like, it's still not popping. Okay, now it's like, and then it starts going, right? So it's like, but like, you're not even using it in some matchups. Like, again, she loses dudes, like, you weren't using this move before. Like, there was no, in neutral, you weren't using this move in neutral as much as you would think. So it's like, her zoning was already bad. You have to, if they were to buff the other areas of her kit to make her zoning actually, like, have presence, like, be an actual scary threat, then this would have been like, oh, dang, that's really good to, like, top it all off. But it's just like, it feels like she just lost the aspect of her kit, and, now she's gonna be even more dependent on things like Blue Wild Assault to try to stall for the Wings of Light, right? Or B, even, you know, already having a minus on block close slash, gonna have to take more risk when trying to go for things like throw, right? So you're not gonna see this looped as much. You're gonna see more, I guess, trying to keep the distance. So things like this, ending her strings earlier, maybe being a little more aggressive and going for throw, right? Maybe, you know, yeah, I don't, kind of just keeping that space. Yeah, buffed in one area, kinda, I guess, and then nerfed in another, which the trade-off just was not good enough. It's, yeah, definitely, definitely still a pretty weak character. She's probably in the bottom 5 of the cast. Which, I mean, to be fair, the power level in the game is really high. I'll make a video on that sometime in the future, but, I mean, yeah, she's just not in the greatest of spots. She, again, being more, I guess, having worse offense, especially with her health multiplier already being, for health multipliers alone, not including guts, she has, like, the highest, second highest multiplier in the highest is worse. Second highest multiplier in the game. So yeah, getting knocked down, especially with this character's defense and the, you know, obviously already the way she works is just not great. But yeah, if you want to know more about Dizzy, I did make a video on her in the past. I'll put that video on the screen. But yeah, I'm curious to hear everyone's thoughts, especially the Dizzy players' thoughts on Dizzy this patch. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see we'll have to wait till next patch, which probably won't be for a while. But my heart goes out to the Dizzy bros. But yeah, until next time, thank you everyone for watching and have a good rest of your day.